Hello everybody, welcome back to The Way That I See It. You are with me on my mobile today. No mic, no big laptop, no fancy camera. Very much here in my hotel in Maui. So I thought of all the places in the world, one of the most beautiful energies was a good time to talk about this week's podcast topic, which is how learning to manifest changed my life. And I think that sometimes we love the idea of manifesting all the good stuff. And actually what we have to remember is we also manifest all the bad stuff. Now, look, I'm not going to get into the nuances and the detail of everything that happens energetically, but what I'm going to share with you is what I've learned over the last year around manifesting, around growth, around energy, around vibration, and hope that it resonates with you. And what I always share with you and what I always say to you is this is the way that I see it, right? Take what feels good and leave the rest. This isn't a indoctrination. This is very much just me sharing what's on my heart, me sharing what I'm passionate about, and really me sharing something that hopefully will add value and give value to you in your life. So first things first is, what do I mean by manifest? So by manifesting, I mean creating, designing, and ultimately attracting the life that I have. So let's break this down. So the principles that manifestation really hangs on and really lives on is the concept of the law of attraction, is the concept that what we put out, we get back, that what vibration we put out there will be received and then brought back to us, right? Now, I've gone on to understand some more advanced metaphysics than that and to understand a little bit more about how that actually works and the science of that. But what I want you to know is that ultimately it basically is based on the principle that you get what you are. And one of the biggest misconceptions about the law of attraction is that you get what you want, and you don't, right? Because you could say you want more money, but if you're in the energy of not having enough money, that physically, the energy mixed with the desire, they're the opposites. They're pulling you in opposite directions. So what I always want people to understand is that you get what you are, you get what you believe you can have, you get what you believe is possible for you, you get what energy you're vibrating at. So when we're going through stuff, when life is really difficult, when we're really stressed, we're not necessarily in what I call a good manifesting place. We're not in the space and the energy to really create at that point, because we're focused on healing, we're focused on taking care of the body, because the vibrations we're putting out are not very big. So if you think about it like a sound wave, right? Like if you're full of energy and you bang a table, the sound wave reverberates quite far, right? If you're not full of energy, it doesn't reverberate quite far. That's the way I like to describe the law of attraction, is when you're in a negative, low energy state, and there's no judgment attached to that comment, by the way, and this is me talking about myself, is that when I'm in that low energy, quite negative state, that's not the time for me to create. That's not the time for me to manifest. That's not the time to design and be intentional. But knowing that whatever I put my attention to, negative or positive, right? And that applies differently to every person in every life. What I put my attention to is what I will create. So just to be clear, we never stop manifesting, but when we're trying to create something amazing, we're trying to create something big, we're trying to create something good, we have to remember as our energy is a big part of that. So we can want something, we can believe we can have it, but if we're going through something at the same time, and we're really not taking care of ourselves, and we're burning ourselves at the same, both ends of the candle, I think it is. If we're doing that, what we're actually not doing is creating a very big positive vibration. So I'm sure we've all met those people that are just like bundles of energy. They're just bundles of joy. They've always got so much love and energy to give. And, there's a whole boundaries conversation to be had there. And in the next few weeks, you're going to hear some of the podcasts that I've got lined up with some incredible healing teachers and specialists in the healing field. And, what I want you to know is that those energy people tend to manifest amazing things because of the vibration that they have, because they set a clear intention, and because they stay in that elevated state. So what I have really learned, and really where I've gone a step from, you get what you get what you are, you get what you want, to you get what you basically are a vibrational match for, is there are a couple of steps that I really now have kind of mentally and emotionally mastered. And they're very much inspired by Joe Dispenza. So full transparency, Joe Dispenza was a chiropractor, not a neuroscientist, at any point, but he's been on this huge journey of basically helping people understand their brains, helping people understand their bodies, helping them reset their nervous system, helping them reset their brain chemistry, and doing that through obviously a combination of things, but especially meditation. And so what he helps people do is understand that to create in life, we can have two options. We can either hustle the shit out of something and work our asses off and get there. And look, I actually believe that there is always effort required for that sense of human deservedness. But the other way he says is to basically create from the field. Now, what he means by that is create from, basically manifest is what he means. He basically means manifest. So you've got very much what I call spiritual teachers calling it manifestation. You've got scientists calling it something else, and he's kind of in the middle. So the way he describes manifestation is you first of all have a clear intention. So a clear intention is the thought is that I want £10,000 the end of this week, right? I want £10,000 the end of this week. The next stage is the elevated emotion, okay? So the elevated emotion is the full body energetic resonance with that thought. Now, this is where mindset work comes in, right? And personal development work and growth work that obviously I'm passionate about, that I teach, that obviously I share with you, is that there's a gap between those two things. So you can say, everyone can say, I want £10,000 at the end of the week. But when you say that, what does that make you feel? Because if that makes you feel like, oh my God, but how would that even happen? No way that's going to happen. Oh my God, as if, what would I even spend it on? Or like, that would be cool. But you can't stay in a positive state. So you could go, I want £10,000 at the end of the week. And you could be like, oh my God, that'd be fucking amazing. Yes, yes, yes. I believe it could happen. It could so happen. It could da-da-da-da. And you stay there for a short period of time. You create a little bit of momentum. But if you can't stay in that elevated state, you can't stay in that elevated emotion because, you know, life, right? Life isn't always a lovely, predictable situation. I'll talk more about that in a minute with manifestation. But basically, it's clear intention plus the elevated emotion compounded over repetition or time. Now, what I mean by that is repetition could simply mean that if you can stay in that state with that clear thought, it's not attached to a certain number of days, a certain number of weeks, a certain number of months for that manifestation to come. Because we've seen people go from zero to millionaire overnight by winning the lottery. Right? I have seen people go from broke and single and lonely to meeting the man of their dreams or the woman of their dreams who happens to be a millionaire who, you know, so it can change, everything can change in a heartbeat, right? But the key to manifesting, to being intentional and on purpose with your life is to have a clear intention, a clear thought process, and to then ultimately stay in the elevated emotion state to be able to create the vibration of the thing that we desire. Now, when we put those two things out, what we actually do is have the ability to collapse time that I talked about in my quantum leaping episode. So what that means is then, because we're emitting a vibration at that certain level, that's what we're available for. We're saying that's what we're available for. And where the mindset and personal development work comes in manifestation is that if you can't get to the clear thought because you question and doubt yourself, or B, you can get the clear thought but you can't get to the elevated emotion because there's too much stories, too much noise, too much chaos. And the other piece to that is if you can't get to the elevated emotion because of trauma or something that's happening in the body. And that's why I'm going to be talking to these healing teachers over the coming weeks. It's work that I've been doing on healing as well, so that when you can fully step into what I call embodiment, right? So you've got the clear intention, you've got the elevated emotion, that emits the vibration. By putting out the vibration and staying in that intention, you're then taking inspired action. So if you're in a great place and you're thinking, I'm gonna make £10,000, you're gonna get ideas, you're gonna get nudges, you're gonna get things come through because you're filtering and focused, like I talked about in previous episodes, right? You're filtering and focus on the thing that you desire with a state of expectation, a state of positivity, a state of so your human mind, so the human part of you, we're not even talking about the field now or attracting, your human mind will find clues, will look for things, will search for things because it feels natural, right? Because you're telling your mind what to focus on. And then if you can stay there in repetition and time, and like I said, there is no timeline. You know, a lot of personal development books will tell you this. It's unwavering faith until it happens, not until the end of the month, right? Even if your goal is the end of the month, but if you stayed in the faith, would you care if it came 2 days later? No, you wouldn't, right? So what we have to do is remember, I talk about my 5 steps. So get really clear on what you want, do the work to believe you can have it, take inspired action, make space, and hold the faith. Now, those 5 steps is basically a summary of everything that I know and have learned from so many teachers. And actually, I really feel like it breaks it down in a simple way. So what this has enabled me to do is I used to be very good at having the clear intention. I used to be very good at then knowing that, trusting into the inspired action. But what would happen is I would allow life that had nothing to do with the thing affect the elevated emotion and affect the holding the faith. That's what I would basically let it do. And as a result, I would get stop-start results, or I'd get that back and forward, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I'd get kind of that, because it wasn't necessarily that I had a limiting belief about it, but what was happening was I wasn't able to stay clear in that intention because I wasn't able to stay in that elevated state of belief because I was letting things on the outside affect me. Now what I'm able to do is create a boundary and say, this belief, this system, this manifestation can still happen, even though this other part of my life is not happening, right? And one of the ways I've been able to do that is through meditation, is through finding my way with exercise, is through understanding. I'm a very cognitive learner. I like to understand things. And so because I've been able to do that, I've been able to completely fucking transform my life in the last couple of years. And, sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right? And I thought I knew, and I definitely didn't know, and I'll never know everything, and we'll never stop learning and we never stop growing. Well, in my book, I never want to stop learning and I never want to stop growing. So what I guess I really want to share with you and really empower you to do is to really master manifestation, and not in a, you know, look, if you love being woo-woo, I'm all for it. I'm not a particularly woo-woo person, but what I can tell you is the magic happens when you do gain the clear intention, the elevated emotion, and then you let the rest fall in. That's when the magic freaking happens. And this month I'm playing a game with myself. I set myself a money goal for the end of this month. It's a little bit wild. It's not a money goal I have done it before, but I did it before in a very practical and logical way. So this is because I do not have a practical and logical absolute guarantee on how this money goal is going to happen. And I'm playing a game, and I will let you know at the end of the month how it went. But that is me saying in a clear intention, elevated emotion, I'm playing that game with myself because I want to do it in like a fun way. I'm like, what's the worst case that can happen? Like, you could do this with £100, guys. It doesn't have to be a big money goal. You could do this with, you know, an outfit, meeting a person, having a conversation. Like, you know, that kind of creating a game is so freaking powerful. So I want you to know that by mastering these things, it's not as complicated as it makes out. Like, the place for personal development, the place for transformation, the place for therapy, the place for growth is still there. And what it helps you do is it helps you get that clear intention. It helps you stay in the elevated emotion, and it helps you hold the faith. And this is why I do what I do, right? It's why I sell the courses that I sell. Especially why right now I have something fun to tell you. I have launched, for anybody who missed out on Next Level Life, who right now doesn't have the funds to invest in a course, a mini course, I have created a one-off mastering manifestation download. So it's got 3 videos, a 5-step workbook, and it's got me basically talking to you about how to manifest, how to create, and what I've done in way more detail, and it gets really into the science. So I'm buzzing to share that with you. You can check it out. It's at lucysuperfox.com/shop. You'll find it in the shop. It's on sale now. It's only going to be on sale now for time of recording. This is the time you see it. We're going to call it a week because with the time zones of being in Maui, I feel like I'm going to get confused with dates. So it's going to be up for a week. So if you're watching this on Friday, it's going to be up for another Friday, basically. It's going to be in the shop on sale. So it's going to be in the shop permanently, but it's going to be in the shop on sale until next Friday. And this, honestly, the value I have created in this one-off download, because I want people to start to create with their lives. I want people to feel like they can create on purpose, because we're always manifesting, right? So and it happens to me all the time, I can sometimes get into a clear intention about something negative, right? You can get into a clear intention about, this just isn't going to work for me. This just isn't going to work for me. Fucking hell, it's not working for me. I'm getting so frustrated. And then what? It doesn't work. Well, duh, right? And it's not always about the thing. Sometimes that negative energy falls into other things, right? Like your car breaking down is such a great manifestation of negative energy or negative beliefs harboring in something in life. So I want you to know that if you're not intentionally manifesting your life, you will end up as an accidental part of other people's manifestations. If you aren't intentionally manifesting being wealthy and abundant, you might find yourself as part of somebody else's negative money spiral. You might find yourself in a situation where you get made redundant, because if you aren't intentionally creating and designing your dream life, what you're doing is unintentionally creating the opposite life to that. And so when you master this, what you give yourself is power. You give yourself power back. You give yourself like that feeling, that sense of like self-trust. And honestly, guys, you cannot put a price on that. Like having that feeling of knowing I can create whatever I want. I might have to hold the faith. It might take way longer than I think. There might be beliefs that come up. There might be stories I have to work through. There might be things I have to face. But ultimately, I can create anything I want. And this is why I recommend starting with something small. Is life-changing. It's life-changing. So make sure to go to lucysuperfox.com/shop to access your one-off download on sale now for a week, Mastering Manifestation. You're going to get a video all about the steps to manifestation. You're going to get a video all about embodiment, which I believe is the secret that most people miss. And you're going to get a video which I've created specifically for this, which is basically why meditation is so powerful and how meditation can really, and not just in the traditional format, how meditation can really create change in your life. Plus, you're going to get the 5 steps to work through. Plus, you're going to get a ton of personal development questions to ask. And on top of that, obviously, then you're going to get access to so much of my knowledge and wisdom about this area, which has just become transformational for me. So I hope that resonated. I hope you took something from that. I hope you got something from my energy. I hope you can feel how passionate I am about manifestation, how passionate I am about this download, how passionate I am just about what's going to happen in my life next, and I can't wait to share it with you. So remember, clear intention, elevated emotion, and holding the freaking faith. So I love you all very much. Thanks for spending this time with me, and I hope to see you on the next episode. My name is Lucy Superfox, and that was the way that I see it.